everyone. It is 45 minutes before sunrise, and today I'm doing something. I'm actually doing two things that I haven't done for a while. I'm doing an early morning shoot, and I'm doing a shoot in the town that I live, which is El Campello. And what I've decided to do is come out and shoot what is basically the symbol of El Campello, which is the watchtower. Now the watchtower is 500 plus years old, although it was significantly refurbished sometime in the mid 20th century. It's used as the symbol, the logo, and it's probably the most recognisable feature in the town. It overlooks the marina here, and it's illuminated throughout the night, so it makes for an interesting shot kind of in the blue hour, and that's when I've decided to shoot it. Now I've shot it before quite a few times, to be honest, and normally when I've shot it I've done a fairly wide angle shot using the boats in the marina to act as lead-in lines and then having the tower in the background. But today I wanted to do something different, so what I've set up to do is I'm using the 70-200 lens at, I'm guessing probably about 110 millimeters, something like that. So that I'm cropping right in on the tower and its reflection in the water. Now it's a little bit windier than I was hoping for. So at the moment I've got my composition set up. I've got the tower pretty much in the center of the frame, focused basically out on the base of the tower. I'm just waiting for the wind to drop a little bit so that the ripples die off on the water. Because I've got some lights behind me, I've closed off the viewfinder just to make sure I'm not going to get light leaking in through there. I think the wind's dropping a bit now. I've got 2-second timer. Yeah, okay, that looks quite nice. Okay, so it's about 15 minutes until actual sunrise now, so I think any chance of doing this as a blue hour shot has pretty much gone. Conditions haven't worked out quite the way I was hoping this morning. I was toying with the idea of hanging around and seeing what happened at sunrise, see if I could get the sun peeking up over the side there, but I don't think it's worth doing that. So I think what I'm going to do is pack up and I'm going to head back now and process one of the images that I took this morning and show you that. So let's head back and get onto the computer. Okay, so that was the photo shoot. Now it's time to have a look at the image. I said I was going to select one of them to edit. I actually only took two, so let's jump over into Lightroom and have a look. Okay, so here's the two shots that I took. Basically identical, other than the first one was a 30-second exposure, f11, 116 millimeters on the 70-200 lens, and the second one was only a 20-second exposure. But looking at this, there's no blown highlights or clipped shadows on this one, and I think I just prefer the reflection a little bit more on this first one, so that's the one I'm going to go for. This one I'll just get rid of. So here's my image. Now at the moment it looks actually pretty horrible. The colour looks wrong on it, it's too bright, but I kind of expected that. Basically the image was shot to process, so I overexposed it, not overexposed it, but certainly exposed it quite high to make sure I got the maximum amount of data to play with. And also I had my white balance set to sunny, and most of the light on the scene was from incandescence, so there's a few things wrong with it straight away. But at the moment it's had absolutely nothing done to it, as you can see from the history here. So I'll just start off with my usual lens corrections, remove chromatic aberration, and enable the profile corrections. And I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the white balance. As I said, most of it was shot with incandescent light, so the thing to do is change it to tungsten, and that's obviously giving it a much bluer tone. It's taken a bit of the warmth out of the lights on the tower, which perhaps isn't ideal, but I can deal with that in a minute. But overall it looks a lot better. The image is still a bit bright overall, so I'm going to pull the exposure back just a bit, maybe about there. I'm going to pull the highlights back a bit, down to about, yeah, about there. That looks about right. And then I'm going to bring the shadows up a bit as well, just to bring out a bit more detail in the boats, etc. So about there. I think the white point can come up a little bit. There's going to be some pure whites in some of the lights, but if I hold down the Alt key and drag it up, I can see when things other than the lights start to burn out. So probably I'm going to leave a little bit of burnout in the top of the tower there, but I'll deal with that in a second. And then the blacks, I don't think there's a lot of room to maneuver on the blacks, but I'll put it back just a fraction. Yeah, about there I think. And I think I will stick a little bit of vibrance in there. Not too much. About there. That looks about right. Now, the image looks a bit unbalanced. The top is a lot brighter than the bottom. So I'm going to apply a graduated filter to the top. And all I'm going to do there is just bring the exposure back, probably half a stop, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, about there. That looks about right. And then I'll do a new one on the whole bottom of the scene. So kind of like that. And that one, exposure, well, it's got some history there, about 0.23 increase in exposure, looks about right. But I think I'll bring the shadows up a reasonable amount just to put some more detail back in there. Yeah, about like that. Okay, now because I changed the white balance, we've lost some of the warm tones in the lights here. So I'm going to fix that actually by using split toning, and I'm just going to add a sort of some orangey colour, so probably something like about that sort of tone. Yeah, about that sort of tone, and then just a little bit of saturation in there, just to bring a bit more warmth into some of those tones. And that's already looking a lot better. Now, if I look at my composition, I got it a bit wrong. It's probably because it was dark and I was struggling to see what was in the frame. But if you look over on this side here, we've got a mast that's neither in nor out of the frame, and we've got a little light sitting here on the corner that I don't like. So I think I'm going to crop this in a bit. I also think I'm just going to change the format, so I think I'm going to take it to a 5:7, so it's just slightly squarer than the standard. So 5:7, and then I'm just going to drag that side in. If I stop there, I've got another problem with another mast, so I think I'll drag it in just a little bit further, so it's about there. And then I might just drag this side in a fraction as well, just because there's a little tree sticking out here. So about there. And just actually take it up a little bit like that. Okay, that's looking a lot better. What's unavoidable here is there's a little bit of blurring in the tops of some of these masts. The boats were moving, it was a little bit breezy, and it's a 30-second exposure, so nothing much we can do about that. I'm now going to do what I call the squint test. So all I'm going to do is actually basically just squint my eyes as I look at the screen, and what that does is it just helps to draw out anything that is likely to be a distraction. And immediately I can see up here there's a light. So if I go in and have a look at that at 100%, you can see the image is when it finishes rendering, it's pretty sharp. But yeah, that light is just kind of annoying me a little bit because it's a white globe. So I think I'll try taking it out using the spot removal tool. If this doesn't work, then I'll have to do it in Photoshop using the clone tool. But let's just try and take the light out. That looks okay. And then I think we might as well take the pole out as well while we're at it. Maybe there. Okay, it hasn't done a great job here, so I think I will have to take it into Photoshop just to clean that up. I'm not completely happy with the way that's worked. So for the time being, I'll leave that as it was. And then I think what I'll do is I'll just apply a little bit of a vignette, not very much, probably just about there. So apart from taking it into Photoshop and getting rid of this, the image is done. Okay, so let's do that. Edit in Photoshop CC. Okay, so it's now open in Photoshop. So I'll create a new layer. Zoom into 100%. Command 1 does that, or Control 1 on a PC. And I'll try the spot removal tool here because it's actually better than the one in Lightroom. Yeah, that's taken that out nice and neat. So look at it back at full size. Okay, happy with that. I'm going to flatten the image and then close it and save it. And that will open it back up again in Lightroom. So that's the final image. Okay, so that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video and seen how I produced this image end to end, from the shoot right through to the final processing. If you have and you want to see more of my videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss any of the new ones that I have coming out. If you're already a subscriber, thank you very much. And if you would care to like or share my videos, that would be much appreciated. And I'd love for you to leave me some comments below, and I always respond. So, thank you very much for watching, and until the next video, bye.